Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hope and Coffee. I'm Hope, and with me is Mr. Gingerbread in order to bring me my coffee. And it is absolutely lovely because it is so stinking cold today. Now, I look like I'm in a little tank top, which I guess I kind of am, but I do have some sweatpants on, and I've got the heater on in my apartment. Yes, I know I could probably put on a sweatshirt, but it looked bulky and it looked weird right now, and I didn't want to record with it on, with my hair looking all crazy. I didn't want to look homeless. I joked with my mom that she either looks ratchet or fancy. So, but anyway, this episode is about a list I ran across on New York Times bestsellers about the 100 notable reads, or 100 of the most notable reads of 2023. And I kind of have a little bit of hit or miss feeling with this particular list, only because some of them I just really haven't heard of. I haven't run across them. I haven't heard people talking about them too much. Honestly, when I looked at some of them on Goodreads, and I do look at Goodreads for personal recommendations because I feel like it's user driven. It's usually driven by individuals who have read those books. So if there's more than 5 reviews, then I feel as though enough people have read it to give me a pretty good general consensus of what's going on. Whereas New York Times, I kind of understand that you can oftentimes pay to show up and get some publicity on the New York Times. So kind of questionable a little bit, but who knows. I am only attempting to be a part of the publishing world in the near future, hopefully, once I can get a couple of my ideas written and maybe pushed out to the publishing world, but that has yet to happen, so I'm not there yet. However, let us dive into this particular list and see what is on it. So the first 3 books that I kind of wanted to talk about are books that I actually, or my podcast and I, actually got our hands on. And very thankful to NetGalley and the publishers for allowing my podcast co-hosts and I to receive advanced reader copies for some of these books, because it allows us to give unbiased reviews in order to, to read them ahead of time, and then to provide, unbiased reviews in return for allowing us to read them. So, absolute thankful to them. However, I was surprised that I saw only 3 books on that list, and they were kind of surprising, the 3 that I found, because we covered probably almost 80 books this year. We doubled up a couple weeks. We did start last September, and I think from September to September we had almost 70 books in the hopper, or episodes in the hopper. I think as of now that we're in November, we're probably close to somewhere like 80, 82. So we are doing pretty darn good. However, the fact that we only read about 3 of the books that were on this list, again, kind of surprised. The first one was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and this was written by Heather Fawcett. It has 4.07 stars on Goodreads and was released earlier this year, and I don't remember exactly when, but I do know that we have an episode on it because my co-host Annalicia loved this book. I have yet to read it, but I am absolutely going to over this holiday season, because I am so excited to say we have the second advanced reader copy in our NetGalley account, and that second book is going to be called Emily Wilde's Map of Other Lands, and so far it has a 4.55 star rating, which means it is wowing people. So I am so ready. I have to read the first one so I can get to the second one. It is fantasy, fiction, romance, which I think is kind of perfect for the fall. I don't know. I know it's got fairies, and I know it's got, a little bit of romance and stuff, and sometimes that feels great for the spring, fall, or spring, summer, but I don't know. Sometimes I like to be cozy with a nice blanket and a cup of coffee or a cup of tea when that kind of comes down. The second book that was on the list was A Saint of Bright Doors by Vajra Chandraskera. I am so sorry if I mispronounced that. I really wish I could pronounce that appropriately, so I truly apologize. I read this book and I really liked it. However, we didn't do an episode on it because I didn't fully feel as though I could communicate properly the magnitude of this particular book. And it shows up on this top 100 notable books, but I feel like it was very cerebral. I feel like it was very esoteric in a lot of different ways. So I think for some people it may be a little hard to get through. However, that was one of the reasons we didn't record an episode on it, was because I actually had a hard time saying some of the names, and I actually had a hard time putting it into words, some of the things that I liked and what the author was doing. So even though I enjoyed it, it was hard for me to kind of explain why. For the third book that we covered that was on this list was The Wager by David Grann. And that's Grann, Grann. And it is the Wager that is a tale of shipwreck, mutiny, and murder. And it gets 4.23 stars, which I got to read that one as well. And loved it. That one was a pretty straightforward nonfiction history book where you get two sides of a tale, get two sides of a shipwreck, and you kind of have to do a he said, she said, or he said sort of thing, because you've got two sets of survivors, and you got to try to figure out which ones are being the most truthful. So it's kind of interesting. I had thought it was really well done, and kudos to him. I believe he even has Flowers of the Killer Moon with Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese that he wrote that will be coming out into a movie soon. But there were a couple books on the list that I had bookmarked as books that I wanted to read. One of them was Holly by Stephen King, which had gotten 4.21 stars. One of them was The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride, which gets 4.27 stars on Goodreads. And I have heard nothing but absolutely phenomenal things about this book. I don't know if it's life-changing for some people or what, but I feel as though I have to pick this book up soon because supposedly once you read it, you are an absolute, purporter of this book. You are 100% behind this book. So I'm not sure in what that means, but I want to read it. The next one is The Reformatory by Tananarive Drive. And this book gets the highest of these reviews so far, and this is a 4.55 star review, which has some horror and has a little bit of historical fiction and looks just absolutely fascinating, and I just cannot wait to also get my hands on that one as well. I love anything that is kind of mystery, thriller, suspense. I love anything that keeps me on the edge of my seat. But every once in a while, I need to pick up a book that's lighthearted, that is, an easy to read sort of book. And I don't know, I guess that's where Emily Wilde comes in for me, is I feel like that's an easy to read sort of book. Whereas a lot of the other ones were fairly hard hitting, with pretty powerful undertones and themes of diversity and all sorts of things of that nature. So I will let you all be the judge. I don't know what's on your TBR list, which is to be read list, but I hope that you will let me know in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe, and if you've made it this far, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you on the next page. Have a great one.